Okay.
We're live. All right. Hey, aloha, everyone. Welcome. This is Jason Donaldson and Deepa Lamb. We're here every Thursday doing tarot and energy signature readings. So basically, we tune in not only with what the cards are saying, but what comes through with what's felt in the energetic field of your energetic field. And often what comes through is messages, guidance, opportunities for healing that you do yourself. We guide you with that. So sometimes there'll be a something in some part of the body. So we'll guide you in how to like shift that and move it and get it transmuted and integrated and or dissolved or whatever comes up. It's all in a flow. It's all being channeled. And so with that being said, if you want a reading, they're $28. We're also going to do a collective reading, and we're going to just discuss a little about what's going on for us personally and what we feel in the collective. It's the same thing is we'll just kind of tune in to when we say collective, it's like the larger energy of what everyone's kind of feeling, but it may be different for each individual based on where you're at. But so a little bit about me. I'm a psychotherapist, Sechem energy healer, and also do spirit guidance mentorships, working with Galactic Wisdom. Deepa is an intuitive psychic medium through tarot, Akashic records, spirit communication, and light language. And we're also throwing it out there too. We're super excited about a new offering we have together where we're going to work with people with what we call galactic sessions. And that's really working with the tarot, energy, harmonics, and helping you embody your galactic self. So connecting to what that is, how that translates into this like 3D, 4D, whatever D reality you find yourself in. And, you know, it can all get really confusing, but it's like, what do I feel? Who do I feel I am at my core essence, and how do I present that to the world? How do I bring that out in a more like grounded, supported, balanced way, and also in a weird, exciting way that challenges everyone around you and the whole world to like step into something even more amazing. So with all that being said, I want to tune in with Deepa and have her share anything that's coming up for her in this moment, anything I missed as far as the introductions and what we're doing here today.
Thank you. I could not have done that better myself. That was perfect. So are we done? Just kidding. That was really great. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess the introduction felt complete. I guess I was going to start just talking about what's been coming up or what I've noticed coming up for people in the collective energy as far as my own immediate family readings I've been doing, things like that. Should we start with that?
Yeah, you were just sharing a bit about that. About actually share the cards you pulled right before we got on here together, which are really interesting. And
Okay.
your exact phrase was like, "Oh no," or something like that. It's pretty. It's one of those. I remember I used to do my 24-hour spreads, and I would get cards sometimes. I'm like, "Oh God, not that one again." We were joking about that too. The 9 of Swords. That one was the one, and the 5 of Cups, of course, my two nemesis. I like the Tower a lot of times because I was in such a weird place that like, oh, the Tower, cool. Something's gonna change radically because I'm in a funk or whatever. But
Bring it.
It's been better, obviously.
Okay, I have 2 out of the 3. I'm just looking for the third one here. Oh no. Yeah, it was a really weird lineup, and you'll see why in a second, especially if you know tarot, if you're familiar with tarot cards.
Oh, and Jacqueline's here. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi, Jacqueline.
Thank you for being here with us. Aloha.
How did you see her come on?
Comments.
Oh, is it in? Oh, okay. I didn't have my comments open. Hello.
And if you want a reading, the link is in the description. Anybody that's tuning in. And if you don't want a reading, that's cool too. Just hang out with us and hopefully make this entertaining. And if you have questions about the collective, like something you've witnessed around you, something that you want to share, that's welcome as well, because that helps us kind of feel the flow of where everyone's at.
All right. Really bizarre. All reversed. Two
I
of
had to
cups.
hold a little closer.
Let's see. Hold on. Maybe I'll shut that light off. Hold on. I'm so dark now, but let's see if this helps the cards. Okay. So Two of Cups in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse. And Justice in reverse. So the reason why I was like, oh no, is it's basically like, if somebody were to get this reading, I'd be like, okay, are you having marriage problems? Or are you having problems with your committed long-term relationship? Because Justice card represents contracts. It usually represents marriage or some sort of law contract. And King of Pentacles is usually like husband material or wife material. The Queen of Pentacles, they're the person that will be committed and loyal over time. They have all their stuff together, all their ducks in a row. It's, if you're looking for a partner, the King or Queen of Pentacles are the way to go. They're really solid people. And then, of course, the Two of Cups is mutual love and mutual respect for each other. It usually shows, it's a really beautiful card to get in a romantic reading, for instance. So I would definitely say, you know, I don't know how many people are feeling this right now, but like trouble in paradise is kind of what it looks like.
Which usually means it's like revealing something we've kind of known for a long time, but been ignoring effectively.
Ignoring effectively. Wow. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's also reopening of, previously unsatisfactorily closed issues. So I just referred to my notes. I got these notes from like 20 years ago, and I was working with my tarot teacher, and she had such a unique view on the tarot. It was really helpful to refer to those. And that's what I was feeling intuitively too, is like the veils are lifting, everything's dissolving. It's going to get weirder, stranger, and honestly more connected to like the dream world. You know, as a lot of people are talking about, we're embodying our light bodies, and the separation is going to become less and less solid. And that's going to be really hard for people in the ego or the mental body, or people that are really easily able to like just shift gears and shift their mindset. It's not going to be like that as easily, where it's going to be quite frustrating. It's like, why does this keep showing up? I thought I dealt with this. And it's because it's happening for us rather than to us. And what I always try to remember in my own life is, you know, presence, to breathe with it, and the ha breath, let it go. Sometimes when we breathe, we're just holding stuff too.
Yeah, that's interesting when you say that. So I'm going to try to find this source, but can't remember where I read this or watched this. I believe it was on a video, and it could have been Lisa channeling, Lisa Royal Holt, or Debbie, doing with the Debbie Solaris with the Galactic course I'm taking. But basically they were talking about the Andromeda galaxy and channeling a being trying to explain the Andromeda galaxy and how different it is than ours. And what you said and how we're evolving and growing and ascending now, what you just said sounds really similar to their description of the Andromeda galaxy. So what these beings said was, okay, it's really hard to describe to you understanding gravity and time and space the way that you do. It's really hard to describe to you what exactly Andromeda galaxy is like, but this is the best way we can describe it. And so they give this like description, which is, so basically, it's like you walk by a storefront that you've always known is there. Okay. It's like called, you know, the thrift store or something. So it's this thrift store you always go to, you know, it's there. It's on this certain street, on this block, in this town that you know really well. And maybe you even know the whole street by heart. Okay. The Andromeda galaxy is more like the next time that you walk down that street, that store is not there. It's reminds me of right now what's going on. I feel like, to me, it looks like multiple train tracks. And the train, you know how the train gets to that point where it can choose to go this way or straight? Or it's like the Harry Potter stairs in the castle that keep moving. So you're walking up the stairs. You thought you were going to go to one place, but you end up on a completely different floor because the stairs moved while you were trying to go there. That's the energy right now. And that's the energy of the Andromeda Galaxy. It's like you thought you were going one place, but while you were traversing, trying to get there, while you were making your connection, that place moved. It's not really there, or it's not as how you remembered it. I feel like so many people are changing timelines right now that in front of our very eyes, the one thing we were headed toward dissolves. And so I love that you use the word dissolve, because that is the perfect word for right now. And so this is this energy of Neptune in retrograde in Pisces that we're experiencing. And Neptune is, you know, in charge of our dreams and the astral realm and the unknown. You know, it's like the ocean and the ether. And so it's just this energy of when you're in a dream and you're in one place, and then all of a sudden in your dream, you're somewhere else talking to somebody completely different. And so in a way it's maddening because it doesn't make sense at all to your logical mind. And in another way, it's like, okay, can you work with this? Can you flow with this? Like you said, you're a yogi, you said you're a yogini, you said you're so-and-so evolved. What if, you know, the script constantly changes? How much are you going with the flow? Where are you at? How do you react to it? What's your reaction? And through your own observation of your own reactions, you see where you're truly at. And so it's like, okay, now we're getting some tests. Like, how are we showing up to this stuff? As this stuff comes at us, what is our response? And we can really see what we need to work on for our own growth and where we're at.
Yeah, because there's one constant with that. Even when we're totally destroyed physically and everything else, there's still the self. There's still who we are at our core essence. And that, you know, is ever present. And I think that's what this is all guiding us to is, okay, so you're not a husband anymore. You're not a wife anymore. You lost your job. You're no longer a teacher. Like this identity that we put so much stock into is gone. And there's a grieving period with that. And that's totally normal. That's not going to go away because we're enlightened or we're a master or whatever. They all went through the same thing. All these beings, we labeled that. They felt grief. They felt emotion. And they remembered, okay, you know, this is part of the human experience and I am more. You know, I am the I am of the I am rather than the thing that comes after the I am.
Yeah. I mean, I had this experience. I don't think I told you this yet, but I had this experience once while I was meditating and I did nothing to bring it on. It was just a normal day where I was going to get up and start meditating. It was totally, you know, I was in the living room. I had a little shrine set up. I sat down. I started meditating. Yeah. Aw, I love that. And in the middle of my meditation, Shiva comes in. Okay. So this is one of those moments. This is what, like, as a yogini, you know, what we're waiting for, these moments where the actual source comes in and talks to you. And in the moment while it's happening, everything is suspended and stops. And you're just observing, you're just experiencing, because it's one of those moments where you're so shocked that you're at a standstill. And then this enlightenment comes through. And basically Shiva comes in and says, you're not doing any of this. I'm doing all of this. And he showed me by moving into my body and taking a massive deep breath. And he was so present. I could feel him. And it was the deepest breath I've ever experienced because it wasn't me doing it. It was literally Shiva opening my lungs, showing me that he was the one breathing my breath, breathing my body. And then he showed me now the perspective through my eyes. And he showed me that he was the one looking through my eyes. It wasn't me as the ego, the small self, that it was him. And so his presence through my eyes was absolutely like, there was no way I could have made it up because I didn't have that level of perception on my own of what that would feel like. So I had the actual experience of it. And that is what helps us grow. We have to go through these things we have to experience them for ourselves. And that's why they tell you, you'll never get that information or that enlightenment through a book. You have to actually have the experience of it yourself. And so it was like this moment of really coming out of doership. You know, he was really trying to show me that my small self was not in charge or doing any of this, that he was operating through me as me.
Yeah, and that's like the theme today is, oneness. And so that being coming to you as part of the oneness, that you are him and he is you. And here he is to remind you of what you already know and what you truly are. It doesn't mean you're like Shiva, but like you are a part of that. That's part of the oneness of all things. And so that aspect came to you and showed you what you were ready to remember, because I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to fully leave yet. I don't want to remember everything, but I do want more grace and ease. I want to enjoy it a little more, like Neo in the second Matrix, where he could fly and he could like fight all these agents. And I think I brought this up before, but it's like the environment's more fun. It's more like, oh, I feel my feelings. I know how to navigate this. This wasn't really preferred, but I'm going with it. And so I love that. What you say is so true. Like, you can't deny that when it happens. When that shows up, when a being like that shows up and you feel it and it's beyond anything you've ever experienced before, it's undeniable. And that's what, the awakening is for so many people. And people that haven't really experienced that yet, they won't really get it, because they don't want to yet. They're playing in they want to play in a heavier, denser illusion. But I think more of it is being revealed now. And there's parts of us that are like, I don't want to acknowledge that. I want to be where I'm at and stay where I'm at. And I think that's something you mentioned before we got on the call today, or this live session, was that basically things are changing and we just got to deal with it. We can't ignore it, can't push it away, kind of thing.
Yeah. And the Akashic Records, like there's 3 principles the Akashic Records exists on, which is no resistance, no judgment, and no fear. And if we live with those principles, like truly live without resistance, without judgment, and without fear, then we meet our limitless potential. Then we truly meet ourselves, not the ego, but the inner self, the self of all. And so I think with
Oh, go ahead.
The Pluto energies right now for some people are really strong. So the Pluto is very strong, deep change. And so it's like death, rebirth, Shiva energy, truly big transformation stuff going on, dark night of the soul energy coming up for people. And Pluto coming in and saying, listen, I know you don't want to change, but your next steps for your evolution require this change. And you wrote this contract before you got here and you will fulfill it. And this is how it's going to happen. And so things are being pulled out, kind of feels like from under us, but is it really? And then we're getting aligned with what's next in our contract, what we said we would do in this lifetime. Our guides are here to make sure we fulfill these things that we said we would do when we were in the Akashic Records. So it is definitely one of those times. It's a fated moment. They're like destiny moments happening right now. It's like the crossroads. It was like that energy I was saying of like the train tracks splitting or the Harry Potter stairs moving. It's like you thought you were going one way, and then spirit or the universe comes in. It's like, well, you said you were going to do this, and this is what's happening right now. This is the time. This is it.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of my intention now is like just to surrender and be present and allow things to flow rather than needing things to be a certain way, because they're often not. There's some other part of me that knows what needs to happen and is guiding me to that if I can just get out of the way and be present and actually listen and be, expanded, like shoulders back, chest out, breathing and feeling like everything around me. And, if you've grown up like I did, where you're being yelled at a lot and, there wasn't a lot of like internal safety, and that could just be, having the moon in the 12th house, there's just this, you're feeling everything. And another kid would have been fine with that. But for me, it was like, at any moment I was going to get hit, or someone was going to trip me, or I was going to get jumped. And so it was always like this holding tight, ready for something. And then to come out of that now, I'm like 48, and to still have that when I really open and expand, to be like, oh no, that's when they get you. when you're relaxed. That's when you get sucker punched. Or, you know, they call it, like in Hawaii, they call it false cracks, where someone's not paying attention and they lay them out. Yeah. And that's intense, but you know, that's kind of part of the world we live in out there, where some of the youth are going through that, and adults and stuff too. But that's the feeling of like, oh no, I got to always be on guard. I always got to be protecting myself. I got to be big and strong and tough. And when I was younger, I used a lot of anger and like to mask like that fear and that worry and concern. And it took a long time to shed that. And then now it's like actually feeling and being open, and then feeling that energetic, almost like you close your eyes and see the vision of it, and then just breathing with that and allowing that to be something to be witnessed to. And it doesn't even mean anything. I think that's the hard part for a lot of people, is especially, you know, when we talk about star seeds and indigos and this galactic information, that there's these beings out there that want to destroy us and steal our energy. And true, that happens, but there's a lot more that want to help us. And there's a lot more that are benevolent. And at a certain point, it's like, when do we stop fighting and resisting what is like an aspect of creation that's pointing to something within us? And I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of it has to do with how we grew up, and it's just that feeling. And then when a being shows up and we're in that feeling and we're in that defensive mode, they're going to react. And in fact, I work with the Natiru, which are basically our Syrian brothers and sisters. And when they came to me, they would actually test me, and they were kind of intense and scary looking. And I'd have to remember, just breathe and relax and be at least neutral or be loving. And then they would shift and transform. And then I was like, oh, this is great. So they match the energy we're working with. And so I think that's true of everything. Is
I love that.
What are we choosing? Are we choosing to fight and resist? Or are we going to choose to like be that love inside of us as we're looking at this thing, this being, this situation, with some level of neutrality? And that's one of the core values of the Sakhem, is basically to be neutral, which isn't always possible, but to just see a thing as it is, and not make it bad or good or evil or any of that. Just, it is what it is, and breathe with it and what comes up as a result of that in me. And then, you know, can I do, and this, again, I mentioned this last time, is the Ho'oponopono, where we do that practice to really help get right with what's coming up emotionally and with the projections of the mind towards that being, that person, that situation. To do that, you know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And, you know, no disrespect to the Hawaiian culture, I know it's much more bigger than that. So I'm not trying to speak about something that I'm not really a part of the culture with, but I found so much value with that, and I want to just share that with others. And that helps a lot.
Yeah, beautiful. I lost myself in your in your talk.
My speaking, it was interesting. When I was younger, I used to have rants. So now I have more positive ones, you know, or channeling,
I love that.
channeling wisdom rather than channeling my ego and my pain.
Now that you're integrated, yeah, your rants are your rants are light filled. What I was going to say is, what everything we were saying about the Andromeda Galaxy and timelines shifting before you can grasp on what you're trying to manifest, it is all so creative, isn't it? So like, if we're dropping into that flow, at every moment we get to be creative with that new representation. It may not be what we expected, but if we can be in the flow, we're like, oh, what could I do with this now? So we really are living in a dream. And it's really like, I was like, God, I can't explain what this is. The other day I was trying to come up with some sort of phrase, and I found a YouTuber, and his title is Swimming Through the Void. And I was like, oh, that's it. It's Swimming Through the Void. And I don't know, that really helped to orientate me toward what I was trying to describe, because it's like, you want to be able to put your foot down on solid ground. I saw this meme recently where this guy, he's just trying to cross this very tiny little passage of water from one piece of land to the other. It looks so minuscule. And when he steps to cross the puddle, he literally drops down about 8 feet. So it's like we so badly want that solid step and expect it to be there, but right now I just don't think it's there. It's like stepping into a cloud. You want that ground, but you're going to just fall right through. And so what can we do with it? Well, we can be really, first of all, flexible, adaptable, and be creative. It's just an opportunity, to work with it.
Yeah. And I'm not contradicting what you're saying. And I want to say, like, there's a part of us that's always supported. It just seems like we're dropping into this nothingness, into this void. And for the ego and the intellect, that's terrifying. Because, like we were talking about earlier, is I am this. This is what I am. Oh my God, it's not there. I fell like 8 feet, like you're saying, like that disappears. It's like, that was my foundation. And it's like the universe is like, or us, our higher selves, like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's just what you were using to prop yourself up. It's a crutch.
Yeah.
Now that's gone. And now you're going to find more of who you truly are and express that. And that's the other thing, is it's not always clear. It's like, what do you want it to be? You ask him, pull cards on it. It's like, well, what do you want it to be? What are you excited about? Because they're even, I think, our guides and our higher selves is, we have these intentions in these lifetimes, and we, pick the life we want, but nobody really, I think, knows exactly how it's going to play out. Like, I think there's always kind of like, whoa, we weren't expecting that. That's interesting. And so that's part of the fun, right? Is even they don't know what's going to happen if all their ability to see, and they can't see everything either, obviously. But I always try to remember that. Yeah. I've had guides say that, when you go to a channeler or something, they're like, oh, that's interesting. We didn't think you'd be doing this.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. Well, we have free will. And so they're like, oh, that's what they're deciding. And that changes the outcome of, 5 years from now or whatever.
Yeah. And I think we'll always be guided to that grand experience, or whatever it is we were meant to, what we truly desired to have happen will continually be redirected that way. And I think that's why, the dark night of the soul is so painful for some people, is kind of off course, pretty far off course. And it's like, you keep getting checked, like check. Okay, there you go. And there it goes,
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Like check stations for like, okay, let's see where you're at. Oh, shouldn't be there. Pull the rug out.
Like some dude with a stick, like it's like, all right, I'll go this way. And it's like, no, not that way either. It's super frustrating.
I feel like I'm in the closet now with the light off. What do you think of the lighting?
I don't know. It looks good. I mean, I think you need a light on the side. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with your studio. Apparently, I've been watching some YouTube videos on stuff. Yeah. You can get those shield things that reflect the light, an extra light.
Okay, the shade is open. Oh, that's slightly better.
Yeah, it works. We can see your dress better now. It's a nice dress.
Thank you.
What necklace you wearing?
I've got a Vajra. This is what I always wear when I do readings. Vajra, which is a tool that Tibetans use when they do pujas and ceremonies, and it represents cutting through illusions. Mm. And then I always wear a pendant of Archangel Michael. He's my namesake because my birth name is actually Michael. So, yeah.
So on your birth certificate, it says Michael?
Yeah, my name's Michael.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's Surprise! A powerful name. That's my brother's name. I know a lot of Michaels. It has a very strong energy signature to it. Very warrior, definitely warrior energy with Michael.
Well, yeah, it does. And what's cool about it is, obviously I was kind of picked on because I had a boy's name growing up. And then when I met my spiritual teacher, my guru, I wanted a spiritual name, which meant I wanted a Sanskrit name because we use Sanskrit, in our practice with mantras and everything. And he gave me the name Deepa, and Deepa means inner light. But when I got that name, because I was living in the ashram, so I came into the ashram with the name Michael, and I just kind of attracted all this more masculine seva, like work projects would be Seva. So I'd be cutting firewood and driving the pickup truck around the property, and I loved it. It just helped me feel stronger inside. But then as soon as I got my Sanskrit name, which is a more feminine name, Deepa, my karma shifted almost immediately. Now I'm in the kitchen more, and I started cooking for my teacher, and I was doing more of the cleaning instead. I went from being outside to being inside more. So it was a noticeable difference. So when you say Archangel Michael has that warrior-like energy, I definitely felt a shift when I got a different name.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I want to go back to Michael again.
I have both. It's the integration of my inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine working together. Michael and Deepa.
Yeah, I knew it's spelled very different. It's like Mykall. So I never really put it together that it was Michael. I thought it was like my call or something.
Yeah. Well, the story is my mom and dad thought they were going to get a boy, and surprise, I was not a boy, but they had already chosen the name Michael. And my mom insisted on keeping that name, even though I was a girl. And so my grandma or my aunt, one of them said, well, let's spell it a different way at least and make it look more feminine. And so I got that interesting spelling out of it.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. I didn't know that about you. Thanks for sharing all that. See what the light reveals?
More veils are coming down in this very moment.
You just need more light on the pendant.
That's cool. See, all because you asked about my necklace.
We haven't got any readings, but we can go ahead and do a collective reading and
let's do it.
That out into the internet and the collective, and it's fun to just be out here and sharing this information. And if anybody sees it, great. But I feel like there's more of a purpose and intention with this to just be putting this out there and speaking it. And anybody that's here with us, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching later, that's awesome. And please comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. But also, this is a way to like honor who we are and what we're stepping into on this planet, of the change that's coming forth, and how things are different. And I almost feel like a newscaster sometimes, doing this. It's like, oh, this is a different form of like news or sharing. And, maybe we say some word or present some perspective that'll be helpful. So that's a lot of the intention, at least for me. It's fun. I like to talk too. So
you have the microphone, Jason.
Yeah, we started doing that in our events on Wednesdays. Is someone asked to have a microphone to hear everyone, so we started passing this mic around, and yeah, it's fun. I think the ego likes that, or it's terrified of it. So either way, it's really helpful in integration. And you can just pass it. Like sometimes, it's really good for the interaction for everyone. I believe, because it's just stepping into using our voice, or at least having it available if we choose. And it's dangerous because sometimes people ramble on forever, but not so much. Not last night or recently.
Okay, so collective reading.
Yeah.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to
start? I do, actually. I have this deck. People have been gifting me tarot decks even before we started doing this. So it's like some part of me is like wanting me to be doing tarot readings more. So I'm actually offering tarot and energy signature readings as an offering on my website as well. I haven't put it up yet, but I'm going to start doing more tarot readings for whatever reason. It's what's being guided to me. But this is for hexa. For hexa is like Swedish for like spells and hexes, and basically what I know to be is, we all know is programming, and how we've been programmed, whether by TV or movies or our parents or society or school, are basically spells, and we take them on. And I work with a man they call the spell breaker, and he very much is like embodying oneness, and it can trigger the shit out of people to be in oneness and speak from oneness, because it's basically speaking what I see as like pure spirit or pure consciousness, conveying information that rattles the notion of who we are from an ego standpoint. And so this is a lot of like Course in Miracles type information that comes through. The Course in Miracles, for those that don't know, is information that was basically channeled into a book and a whole series of teachings that were channeled from Jesus. And so this woman, I forget her name, connected with Jesus and channeled this information through. And it's up to you to decide if that's true or not. And then there's value in the messages. And it's also like really triggering sometimes to the emotion and what comes up reading certain things, like, wait a minute, what do you mean? This makes no sense. And it's not very logical. But so breaking a spell would be like that. And like you said about stepping in the puddle, is like, this is what it is. This is the way the world is. And all of a sudden that thing disappears, you know, it's removed, erased, even like with etheric surgery. And, you know, I do that work with people. You can only do so much. If you take too much out or you move stuff too fast, the person freaks out and it's too much, and they feel ungrounded and unstable. And so everything that's there is serving in a way. And then there's opportunities at certain points to just shed skins and let go of things. And so that's what this reminds me of. And it's easy to get caught up in this is evil and everything else. Same with like tarot cards supposedly being evil. It's in how we work with the energy. It's what we're calling in. It's what we're not willing to look at in ourselves. And it's also who's programming that crap into you, you know, and how is it serving them? But no disrespect to people that have faiths that believe that stuff. And, you know, I'd invite you to look at how that is harming others, to hold that view and the idea of trying to protect them. So anyway, I'm going to pull these cards. I'm not sure why I said all that, but maybe it's just something that's coming up for me around this when people, I know they're coming from a place of love. And so I try to remember that it's love and care and concern when they're worried about my soul and other things, you know. But it's going to be okay. I've been in way darker places, trust me. So I'm going to pull a card, represents a collective illusion that's being revealed. Something that the whole planet is being shown in some way, though it may change for each individual. Okay, so I usually don't do it this way, but I was inspired to have one just jump out. What I'm getting is the Queen of Fire. It's pretty badass looking. So as I tune into this, I'm seeing the lightning bug. I'm seeing the moon. I'm seeing the roses. So what I get is, we're told we are a certain thing, that we represent a way of being, a way of interacting, a way of knowing, a way that was shown to us from a false light, from a light that was reflected, but still just as valuable. For nothing is false. Nothing is even reflected. We're being asked to fire and transmute these old ideas, these old notions of what a thing is. To let go. To trust in the nature of things. Their true nature, the true voice. What is revealed is what will be needed. You can work with the fire, work with the moon. It's now safe. It's now organic. The nature of these things are back to their true origin. Okay, this is what I'm really getting. Yes, there were distortions. There were misrepresentations of things we experienced, the moon, the elementals. And now we're coming back to the organic aspect of these things. Just like we ourselves are awakening to the different ways that we are in oneness, that we are connected with all things. We can work with these elementals, with the moon energies, free from the old distortions. So what that brings up for me is, as part of a ascension community, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about negative aliens and agendas, and there's truth to that, of course. And I also saw how it became like supporting that very thing. And there was a lot of information about the inorganic nature of the moon, that it's actually a satellite that was brought here to influence the emotions, the watery nature of this planet, to as like a control structure. And now that is no longer the case for whatever reason, like we've jumped into another dimension where that is not what it is. And if it was, it's not anymore. And so that's what I'm being told or guided to share is, the moon is organic. Others have said this too. It is now organic, and there was an aspect of it that always was, and many beings knew that, and they would still connect with the moon, and they'd still do ritual and still remember and maintain that knowledge throughout this whole period of forgetting. And now it's more of a collective understanding that as you connect with the moon, you're going to feel what maybe didn't feel good before is going to feel like, wow, this feels really good now. And same with the fire. The fire has also been taken to another level of I just get like organic, like nature, just its true nature coming through even more powerfully. Whereas before it was maybe watered down or diluted, or, like me doing a rant on things like 20, 30 years ago when I was all frustrated and angry. And now I have more of these like, streams of consciousness rather than streams of unconsciousness. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I want to share. So hopefully that's helpful, and take in what resonates, throw away the rest. I'm just some dude that's tuning into the energies that are coming forth, which is often called channeling. And so that's the card. And this deck is very like intimidating for me. It brings up a lot of these ideas of the distortions in paganism and how it's evil and bad, and anything with the horn is bad. And I know that's all bullshit, but there's part of me that still has that programming. So in working with this deck, it really helps me like be like, oh, what, this is not what I think it is. What is this? What is coming through? So I'm grateful to a client that gifted this to me. It was really awesome. And at first I was like, whoa, I don't know about this. But that's the deck I really felt today before we even got on. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull a card from this deck and see what happens. So that's what I got.
Beautiful. I love the energy we kind of dropped into with you through that. So I'm going to keep it going, and I'm going to do some light language.
Cool.
But I'm going to pull a Starseed Oracle card. And the way I describe these cards, which are totally otherworldly and magical, is if you could draw frequency or sound or vibration, it would look like the images in this deck. And so we're going to pull one for right now, and then I will channel light language to activate that energy that we receive. Okay, so let's see for the collective right now. What is it that we need to see, hear, feel, know right now through the Starseed Oracle deck? Ooh. Temple of Amethystia, tranquility, patience, and disillusion, number 70.
Nice.
So beautiful.
Like a
I've actually
cosmic
been,
cross.
huh?
Looks like a cosmic cross.
Yeah, it does actually. Celtic cosmic cross. I've actually been seeing a lot of amethysts. I always ask my guides to bring in the crystal I need to work with at the time, and amethyst has been coming up a lot. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my guides, and I'm going to do some light language through sound. So it's either going to come through as spoken or sung. Sometimes I do toning. And if you want to see more of this, I have an Instagram page, Light Language Tarot. And I do this kind of thing on there every day, almost every day. Okay, so here we go. Just give me a minute to tune in. Osina siaka sonina aya shayapa iya sayapa so inaya aya sapayawa aikapa si oninaya shaiwapa aininaya o ayapawa so cool. I'm going to put that up here. Wow, that was strong when that came through. My whole body went up like 5 degrees in temperature.
Can you translate for us what you got? What came through in the language?
Yeah, sometimes I can. Sometimes I can't. That one felt like my guide. I called in my Arcturian guide, and I mean, I didn't really call her in. She was the one who stepped forward, who wanted to do it. I have a couple that I work with, and it felt like she was working with the meridians of the body, because it felt like, with also the signing that was coming through, which doesn't come through all the time, but a lot of times I'll sign as I speak. That's light language too. Even if you're just signing and not speaking, you can also draw light language. But to me, when she does the light language with the signing, and sometimes also, just with language, but it feels like she's working on the meridians of the body, and she's trying to almost realign the energy and open the chakras and raise the vibration. And so with amethyst, I definitely felt, the crown the vibration of the crown being raised up. I almost felt like this unicorn horn. I was doing this kind of thing. That felt like a third eye activation of a, more clear seeing, or advancing, or increasing psychic ability. Felt like that. Yeah, I think it was general. It just felt like an overall upgrade and a balancing to the body's meridians.
Cool. We could all use that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Actually, guide as well.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll pull a couple light language cards since I have them, and I think it would go well, and we'll see what comes through. Okay, for the collective. Ooh, universal connection, Pleiades expanding. And that feels like oneness. Ooh, and then choice. Okay, another Pleiades expanding. And then a Lyra awareness card, universal flow. I mean, this is everything we've been talking about. So right there, these are by Jamie Price. She actually taught me light language. I took her courses. And this is written light language from her. And in her deck, she does work with the different star groups. So each one is labeled by the star group, a lot like Lisa Royal Holt has done in her Galactic Heritage deck. And so basically with Pleiades expanding twice, it's this energy of us evolving and growing from this point. So we're literally expanding our consciousness. And with universal connection, it feels like a higher understanding of oneness. We're seeing our universal connection between each other, but also as Earth taking a place, among the other star systems. And as it ascends, it, gaining that kind of notoriety for that place. And then universal flow would be like a lot with, we were talking right now about dropping into the unknown and letting go of resistance and really moving with the flow of where the energy is taking us, opposed to like trying to force something. And that was like a Lyra awareness card. And then choice was Pleiades expanding again. So I think it's also like, I kept thinking this past week, it was this energy of choosing the path less traveled, which is that path of like the hero's journey or the yogi or the yogini, taking that path it's not the choice everyone makes, because it's definitely challenging and it's harder, but it will take you more quickly into your spiritual growth and evolution. And I feel like with Pluto and the energies right now that are happening, it's almost like we're choosing differently because we really do want that growth and transformation. So we are making choices. We almost don't recognize ourselves, and we're making new choices and different choices because we want something better. We want something more aligned. We want that next step too. It's not just about what the universe wants for us, but I think deep down inside, a lot of us are wanting more alignment, wanting more community, wanting more connection and love, and really wanting to see that in our lives and experience it. And so I like that the choice card came up, because I think it does come down to, it's also your choice whether you want to keep choosing the old or really follow your North Star, your North Node, and move toward, your highest evolution and potential.
Yeah, that's what I've learned is path of mastery is choice. Like, do I choose to entertain the thought that's being offered to me in this moment that's not even relevant to anything happening around me? Or do I choose to focus on my breath? Or do I choose to, allow my energy to float around up here? Or do I choose to like move my consciousness into my heart and just breathe into that place and see what I feel or what comes up? Just like focusing on my left finger. It's that simple. It's like, oh, I'm just going to move my consciousness to a different part of my body and breathe, and choice. It's so simple, but none of us really do. It was like, oh, surely there must be a modality, a technique, a thing I need to do. But that's all designed just to bring us into presence anyway. And that's the key, right? Is to be present.
I absolutely love that, because it really does. It just we give ourselves our power back when we realize how many little choices throughout the day we have to choose differently, especially with this energy right now, where some of us feel like in a massive place of stuck or stagnation, or that thing that we want is just beyond our reach. While we're in this like waiting period or holding period, we could still be choosing a higher perspective, a deeper perspective that takes some of that suffering away or that heaviness away that we're experiencing. And it's exactly how you said, choosing to move your energy from your mind into your heart will relieve a lot of that. And it's a choice, and that's a power that we have that we don't often exercise, because we're instead wanting some big event to happen that we can choose externally, when internally is where the work is calling us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think it was Anubis recently that told me, like, I was doing a SecChem training and came through like, you're not tired, you just think you're tired. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, like, we're not stuck. You just think you're stuck, and therefore you're stuck, kind of thing. Like, what's stuck? What does it mean to be stuck? Like, are you like literally in the mud somewhere, or is it just a feeling that's not really even a feeling? It's a judgment based on a deeper feeling. So, yeah, that's the hexes. That's the spells. Like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm stuck. Therefore, I am a stuck person. Therefore, I am. This the I am again. Whatever comes after the I am is usually bullshit. Somebody said that to me recently too. I was like, oh, like, get rid of anything after I am. Just don't say I am anything, and then see what happens. And it's very liberating. And then the humor and the laughter is so powerful. Like, if we're not laughing, then, it's why even be here? And sometimes we laugh harder at the ridiculousness of what happens next. Like my car last night, it wouldn't start right after our event. And the guy that owns the venue there, it just got done telling me like all his cars have electrical problems and they can't figure out what's going on with it. And then I go to leave and I try to start my car and it won't start. It won't click, nothing. He's got plenty of power, try to jump start it, nothing. It's just nothing,
Maybe that has to do with his land, something going on.
That's where we do all our events. So maybe we got too much energy there. I had a coach that was a etheric alchemist, and he would fry laptops all the time. He's like, man, I keep frying my laptops because he's doing all this energy work on people all the time. And so he just had this feel. And my tarot teacher, same thing. She would fry laptops, when something was really going on for her, like I forget how she described it, but yeah, it could be truth to that. But it's like funny, it wasn't funny at the time. And then at some point it gets funny, like, oh, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I know when I work with the Syrians, the internet or something tends to go. Some kind of technology tends to go, and then I always have to ask them to like adjust to accommodate our energy with theirs. Some sort of integration needs to happen, and then it can shift. But yeah, definitely when you're working with the Galactics, there tends to be, luckily not on our show, because I always set the intention that everything's balanced and working harmoniously before we start. So I don't know, maybe it really does help to ask for help and set intentions like that. I do think it does.
Oh, I always do. I always ask for help.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. For sure. I totally agree. I was going to pull a more earthy card to see what's happening right now.
Yeah, I want to pull a dragon card or something too.
Yeah, I love how whenever I start getting ready for these sessions with you, and one of the first things I do is I connect our hearts and our higher selves. And every time I connect with you, one of your dragon guides comes in and is always there protecting you. But they're so like strong and very clear in my mind's eye. So it's really cool to see the dragon energy around you all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I was doing a different deck, but this card's great. Liberation. The doubts and fears still come up. You don't believe that they're you. You don't believe anymore that they're you. The doubts and fears still come up, but you don't believe anymore that they're you.
Oh, that's appropriate. At least what I keep like talking about. I am, right?
Yeah.
Like how liberating it is to not be that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It take a couple of months to feel liberated until the new thing shows up. For years.
I know. My teacher always says, don't try to fill the space too quickly. After you let something go, you can feel a little anxious because there's a void there now. But he's always like, don't try to fill the space. Just let it be. Such a beautiful guidance,
Yeah. So I was actually getting, I want to pull a card from the Anubis Oracle. Oh my God, this is the same card I pulled earlier.
Whoa.
So the goddess of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Hathors were Venusian, right?
I'm not sure actually.
I've heard that through Debbie. I think that the Hathors are. Anyway, you talk. I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the group may have been, but I know Hathor as an aspect of Sekhmet when Sekhmet was stopped from her bloodlust, from her, she was set the task of punishing the humans, or basically set the task of setting a boundary. And when she wasn't able to stop, Thoth mixed like barley and this dye, and she basically got drunk drinking this stuff, thinking it was blood. And then when she became Hathor, she became this not subdued, but more relaxed, loving, present aspect. Even though it took drink to get her there, it was like what shifted that trajectory of like, I can't stop. And people come to our events and they're like, I can't not think. My mind is always racing. And so there's like an interruption. And then this other aspect comes forth, which Hathor is, the goddess of love and celebration. And the great cow goddess that represents like the Milky Way and the sustenance and all these wonderful things that are like the Three of Cups or the Empress, where she's this really beautiful, loving, caring energy. And I just want to tune in with, I always read from this when I pull these oracle cards. I always read from the book. So you mind if I do that, or did you have something like that came up right away for you? Okay. So Hathor is magic, medicine woman, integration. Beauty permeates the goddess of love and joy, celebration and intoxication. She is the cow goddess of the night sky, whose nourishing milk streams forth as the Milky Way. In the lineage of the most ancient grandmother Neith, who is sometimes depicted as a serpent who reaches inside of herself to pull out all of creation, an abiding sense of benevolence in Neith is infused into Hathor, the medicine woman who integrates the light and dark into a magical blend of higher love and wisdom in her gold-silver chalice of healing. Her medicine resolves inner conflict. Anything lowly in form becomes divine, blended with her love. She has the power to bring you to sacred marriage within, fostering unconditional love for yourself and others. When you are healed by Hathor's magic, you experience a peaceful yet powerful infusion of love. When she appears in her Lady of Beasts aspect, all of Earth's creatures feel blessed and safe in her presence, and long to be close to her heart. If you have chosen this card, you have an opportunity to drink from Hathor's magical medicine chalice. As you focus on her loving presence, begin to resonate with the essence of the brew that she's creating for you, a blend that includes the oppositions of your life, combined alchemically to transmute into unconditional love. Feel the healing power of love enter and flow through your being. Problematic situations, struggles, and even strained relationships can be transformed when you integrate Hathor's love. Hathor can also introduce you to your allies and animal totems. When you pull this card, it's a good time to notice who comes into your conscious awareness. You might even find that a totem appears in your outer physical surroundings over the next few days. Watch for the magic so you can engage with it fully. So what's coming up for me in my own life, and like, is, so in certain religious communities, they would say the Hathors were evil. And when Moses came off the mountain, he found them worshiping a golden calf, which was probably Hathor, and they were drinking and celebrating. And so how much of what's written is accurate? How much has been mistranslated? How much has intentionally been written the way it is? remains to be seen. And I think what's being asked of a lot of us is to like let go of a lot of the bullshit of what's been written and we think is true. And you have God inside of you, you know the source, and you can interpret whatever's out there. And this may not be a popular thing to say, but I think it's time that we self-source things and we look within and see what resonates for us. Because that's what I'm getting. And maybe that's harsh. Maybe that's more than people want to hear from me, but that's my truth. And what I see in my own life and what I had to do is that there's a lot of distortions out there that we've taken as fact, or that's the way things are. And to like, let that go and trust what's right for you. And it may not be the same for everyone else, and that's fine. But I'm just feeling that the intensity of that idea that things are evil and bad, and that perpetuates the problem on this planet. Because who am I to say something is evil or bad? I'm just becoming that thing myself. So that's what I'm putting out there. And I wouldn't normally say that because I like to be a nice guy, but it's kind of a lot of bullshit perpetuating pain on this planet. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Let's see. Yeah. So what it basically, so what we were learning from Debbie in the Galactic training, she's saying Venusian beings or the Hathors, they live in the fourth dimension, but she's going into how Hathor is an ancient Egyptian cow goddess of love and motherhood. Basically that she's from Venus and seeded Venusians on Earth to help them learn love and compassion. And then she mentioned that Nikola Tesla worked extensively with the Venusians and received much downloads of information from them. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't know that. So I thought that was cool.
Mm.
Okay. So thank you for that reading. That was beautiful from the book.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, everyone is a shaman. Everyone's a healer. Everyone is God. And it's what we're choosing to embody and step into. And I don't usually go by Galactic Shaman. That's something that just came to us. But that's what I do in ceremonies. I do breathwork ceremonies with sound healers, and that's something that just came to me. I work with youth in the past doing rite of passage ceremonies. And so, yeah, I'm not trained by a Peruvian. I'm not Native American. I'm not Hawaiian. But I've had many lifetimes where I've been those things, and many of us have. And so it's what we're choosing to embrace. And the labels are bullshit most of the time, but there is a level of truth in our soul of who we are. And yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anybody's any better. It's just what we do, what we offer.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to pull some final cards, and we're at the hour, so we could kind of do a wrap up.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. So how about we pull some starseed guidance? We'll do some guidance cards for the end. So I've got the starseed deck by Rebecca Campbell, and I have the Ancestors deck from Kyle Gray, and they're both just great guidance decks. Okay. So let's see, for the collective, what is the guidance right now? I saw this earlier when I was shuffling. It says starseed, what lights you up? What lights you up? And then, and this is perfect for right now, I feel align your life. What is not aligned and needs to change? And that's been coming up a lot through our past hour and a half talking. And then the guidance is everywhere. The guidance is everywhere.
That's the one that wanted to come forth.
Guidance is everywhere. Okay. Let's see. What is the guidance, collective guidance for right now? Eagle, see from a higher perspective. I'll do one more. High Priest, intend and create.
Oh, that's a beautiful card.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck. Wow. And they both have birds. So it definitely feels just like that avian energy. Very cool. Yeah. So that's it, I guess.
Okay. Well, we didn't have any readings for personal readings today. It was fun doing a collective reading, and yeah, it was great connecting with you, Deepa, and everyone that was watching. Jacqueline, Morningstar. Can't really see anybody else unless they comment, but
Yeah.
appreciate you all being here and taking the time to drop in with us. So,
Yes,
mahalo.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason, for your energy and time and readings today. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Yeah, you too. That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next week.